get what I find to be actually, I mean, the greenery of a dandelion is pretty ugly if you've got a lawn. I mean, it just murders it. But the actual head of a dandelion is so bright and beautiful and full of life, and then it turns into these great floofy little things that, with a gust of wind, certainly as a kid we pluck them and blow them, but the flower dies and then moves on, and life resumes in another season. And more often than not, that life resumes somewhere in my yard because my neighbors aren't treating for dandelions, so we get out there with a stick and dig them up. Okay, so again, final pass. This is where we started yesterday. I would say that we're about 3.5 hours in of work, 2.25 hours today, the rest of the time yesterday, and maybe in about another 30 minutes or so we'll have this done, and the gilding will be done. I'll let it sit overnight, and I'll then go back in with ink, touch up any areas that I need to, and then get it polybagged and ready to ship with another print that was ordered. So back to it. Again, to start, here we go on that loop again. Miniatum ink. This is the adhesive that I use. Acid-free, archival. And we're going to use it to paint into every area where we want the gold to stay. I'm going to take out my size 0 Grumbacher Golden Edge brush. I normally prefer working with sable, but my sable brush, the tip is just, it's gone now. I'm going to try resurrecting it by trimming the tip, but this synthetic tip has been working out pretty nice. So okay, so next up we just start laying it in. There's really nothing inherently magical or difficult about doing gold leaf. It's just the process, knowing what to do, getting your steps in the right order, and like anything else, practicing. Through some perspectives, it might have looked like I picked this up pretty quickly, but then again, I'm 51 years old, and I've spent the majority of my life working with pencils and paintbrushes. So from that perspective, I look at the work that I'm doing, and I don't necessarily think, oh, I picked that up in no time. I rather think to myself, man, it's been that long, and I'm still not as, I'm still making wobbly lines. So I think we'll shift like this and work for a while. I'd rather not have my hand resting on the printed portion. If there's anything tricky about this part, it can just be that sometimes you got to decide what order to fill things in. And you might have seen a moment's hesitancy in the brush a few seconds ago, kind of waffling over here and there. I decided to do the leaves first because since I am left-handed, if I'd have filled in the line right here first, I would have had a greater chance of getting my hand in the adhesive if I would have done this line first and then tried working over here on the right. And getting the hand in the adhesive is just absolutely one of the worst things that you can do with this, because your skin's going to pick it up, number one, and then number two, it will set it down. wherever you put your hand at. Real quickly, if you weren't here for it, inside the ear right here, this was actually, there's gold there not because I wanted it there. There's gold there because yesterday I didn't realize that I'd gotten a little adhesive booger on my hand, and I'd smashed it into the ear. And today when I realized that that was the case, I was unable to get it off. I got some of it off, but there was enough there to remain tacky, and today when I was gilding the other areas, the gold hit that area and stuck. So I'm going to have to go back with ink and fix that a bit later. This is a song that I probably picked up as a free download from Starbucks. And I honestly don't recall ever listening to it before. It's got a nice kind of country, Bakersfield country western kind of vibe going on to it. Nice and bouncy. A little forlorn, like good country and western should be. Bunch of tiny ass little leaves around here. I'm thinking the zero brush is going to be a bit too thick for them. So I'm going to get the vines and then go back with a double zero that I was using earlier, but was too thin for the vines. Because of the nature of the reflectivity of the gold, and that sometimes, like in a shadow, it just completely disappears. With light coming in at a certain angle, it only shows up as a color. And then yet at other angles, it completely illuminates. It's actually very forgiving in that, these lines are far from perfect. They can be a little wiggly and a little wobbly at times, but I've discovered it's really got to be a major screw up in brushwork. Before you've actually got to go back in and fix the gold after it's adhered to it. So we'll finish getting these bigger bits. Bigger brushes are good for making little dots, like a little whatever berries that I've got stuck on here. Yeah, some of these leaves are just too tiny for this brush, so let me get these big leaves. Okay. So that's it for the zero brush. And that music is too mellow. So yeah, let's go with some jazz from Lindsay Ziorsky. Alright, so we'll go to a double zero Grumbacher, which again, the tip on this thing, it being synthetic, it was too bright. It was a bit too perky, actually too precise to be used on the vines. It was requiring that I made multiple passes, which I don't want to do. The more passes I have to make, basically, the more chance there is for a mistake. So the same quality that made it imperfect for the vines is exactly the same thing that makes it perfect for the leaves here. Another of the dogs just walked in wondering when Daddy's going to get up from the chair. I've got to quit drawing such tiny little leaves, man. That's ridiculous. It's okay, just doing a check now that I've got everything filled in. I'll certainly find out after we lay in the gold. The gold's not sticking anywhere, that I don't have this adhesive. So we'll just go back in after the fact and add it in and reapply the gold. So I think we've got everything here. Alright, brush in the water. And we'll go ahead and tighten that up. Get the lid back on the Colnace, the Colner Mini Autumn ink. And okay, so next up, once again, just like Bob Ross, man, just forever doing these happy little trees. Alright, here's what we did. So we just put in the adhesive through the vine work down here at the bottom, and it shows up as a pink as opposed to the white. Again, I'm not so sure how well the webcam is picking that up, but you should be able to see a cast. And it's probably a bit drier than I need it to be over in this area where I started, so I'm going to breathe on it deeply through the magic bamboo, and the breath reactivates it. The moisture from the breath and the warmth that makes it open back up, so it'll grab the gold when I put the gold back on it. Deep, slow breath. And in some of the books where I've read about gilding technique, they say to breathe from the bottom of the lungs, which I don't know that you could really breathe in particular from the bottom of your lungs, but it's, if you think about it while you're doing it, you tend to bring up a wetter breath, which is what you want. And then the bamboo is used to grab the extra droplets of spittle that might come out of your mouth or something, instead of having them land on your artwork. So we grab the buck of gold leaf, and I've used about 2/3 out of this particular book.